For the first time in more than 5.5 years, we finally tonight have a few new answers to a question that has loomed over Indiana and over the town of Delphi. Who killed Abby Williams and Libby Jones?
The end of the bridge you got to go through. Now, I believe the bodies were found about 50 feet.
A suspect in the criminal investigation out of Fort Hood is dead. Officials say he killed himself overnight.
They needed that little music in the background that goes, "Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious."
Right.
Knew about it or was there. He's as guilty as the person who committed
Chilling
it.
details in the arrest of a suspected serial killer caught before he could strike again.
They dropped the ball, man. Like they said, he went AWOL, and that he was a deserter, and nobody went to look for him.
Today is not a day to celebrate. But the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder.
Right. He sees him taking off with the wife. They end up finding the wife murdered with the baby out of her, and they found the baby in another place.
Hey, greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. This is Philip J. Fry, and you're listening to The Drunken Turkey Show, your one stop for this sort of thing. Hit that button, like and subscribe. You know what to do, just like every other podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Murder Mystery Show, where we get into some true crime, talk about current crimes that are going on, and unsolved mysteries. I'm joined, your host, I'm Daniel J. I'm joined here today with my two good buddies, Jaime G and Big Blue. Jaime, how you doing today?
I'm doing better, man. Doing better today than I was in the weekend, man. I was hella sick.
It looked like you were having a little bit of attack there.
I was having a cough attack there for a little bit. Luckily, I had the mute button on because you would have heard all that glory.
For sure. And guys, we're coming from San Antonio, Texas, and Del Rio, Texas. Let us know in the live chat where you guys are coming from. Big Blue, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. You know, a little exhausted today, but hey, it's just life.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I've been up and down. I had my appendectomy. It was a little bit less than a week ago, and earlier I felt pretty good. Me and the wife went out for a walk. Was climbing up, walking uphill a little bit, and I was like, made about halfway. I was like, yeah, time to turn around. My stomach's starting to feel a little sore, and so that's what we did. And so, since the last time we talked, guys, it's been a little bit of breaking news. Not so much in the Delphi case. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. And you know what? Let me break down what it is that we're going to be doing today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Idaho murders, since there's been some breaking news here recently. And then we're going to jump into the Delphi case. And then we're going to open it up to you guys to come on in and talk to us. We'll send out the StreamYard into the live chat, and we'll go forward from there. Right now, before we get into the breaking news, we'll say hello to the few of the early ongoers. But State of the Steelers, couldn't wait for this one. I know what you mean. George Teston, how's it going? Amano coming in from Chicago. We got Tina from Tampa. From Locust Valley, PA, George Teston. That's interesting, from New Jersey. And Jeannie Smith, I was actually talking to her earlier on another channel, Delphi After Dark, I believe. Coming in from Indiana.
Nice.
Steelers fan is here from San Antonio. And we have Karen Lee from Wisconsin. Oh, one more real quick. Savannah's coming in from Australia.
Awesome.
I wonder if you know Mark Davison. He's a good friend of ours.
You'll doxy him.
Well, so let's get on to the breaking news. In fact, I'll share the stream with it. This is from the city of Moscow in Idaho. This is their police department website. It says detectives are interested in speaking with the occupants, in parentheses, occupants, of a white 2011 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra with an unknown license plate. Tips and leads have led investigators to look for additional information about the vehicle being in the immediate area of King Street residence during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupant of this vehicle may have critical information to share regarding the case. If you know of or own a vehicle matching the description, or know anyone who may have been driving this vehicle on the day preceding the day of the murders, please forward that information to the tip line. And so they have a picture here of what that vehicle looks like. I'm sure the internet sleuths across the world will be pulling, pictures, going through social media accounts from probably students there that attend that university to see who drives a vehicle matching this description. What do y'all think about this breaking news? Do you think that this is the suspect vehicle? We'll start off with you, Jaime.
Maybe not the suspect himself, but it could be a person of interest,
Right.
But like, I own a vehicle like that too.
You do. How does a vehicle like that go work in the snow?
Sucks, man. It's 2-wheel drive.
Yeah,
Front-wheel drive.
Front-wheel drive, so it should be okay.
Yeah, well, it's okay if like you're like 5'5", but like to drive that thing, it's a hassle, especially if you're like 6'1", 6'2". It's tight.
Yeah, and it's a vehicle that I would probably expect a lot of students to be driving.
Yeah, it's super affordable. That's what. Exactly. That's why I have
it. Exactly, and so putting just two and two together, I would think that it's possibly or probably a student somewhere near, and that's kind of what we're thinking about in this case. That it could be a student here. And one other thing I wanted to kind of bring up, because this came out yesterday. This was drone footage from the incident, apparently day one of the investigation. I wanted to share this with everybody. Let's see. You know what? I'm going to put us at the bottom. There we go. And so let's play this. There's no sound to it. I believe this is the day of the murders, or when the call came in.
Yeah, it doesn't even look like it snowed, right?
Right. It didn't look like it had
snowed,
been, but
yeah,
and so
man, there's a lot of traffic, right? Like,
right.
A lot of
and so these are all. Some people are saying that this was undercover vehicles and things of that nature, based on the cameras that are coming out. I think this is media.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
definitely
definitely media.
You said this was the day of, right?
I believe so. This says day one of the investigation. I would assume that's the day that they called. However, based on the sun is it's either setting or coming up. I'm not sure which direction this house is facing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find out real quick, and then I'll tell you more or less what time of day this is.
The day after, like they got called in.
Let's find out. Pull this up real quick. Oh, wrong button. All right, give me a sec. So the sun is behind the residence, and so if
I wonder if that vehicle, the white Elantra, came out on that drone footage.
Yeah, it looks like the based on the position of where the sun is at, that's going to be southwest. It's probably setting, so this could be. So watch, look. This is the victim's house. This is facing north, south, and the sun is over here, and so you see where so it's setting. This could be the same day. This could be the day of the murders. Okay. That afternoon. Yeah. This vehicle that comes up here, it shows some ladies that are going to be working in it in a minute. And I believe this is the forensic team. Now, what that tells me is that a lot of this scene shouldn't be disturbed at this point. because you have to wait for the forensic team to go in there, take pictures, document everything and anything exactly where it was, right?
Yep.
And so these guys are getting out their cameras, they're getting out everything that they their equipment. Let's see if I can. So this is potentially your forensic, your CSI team, so to speak. And so,
yeah, they gotta do that first before anything, because then you have the risk of contaminating the scene.
Right, and what these guys also do is preserve the scene forensically and digitally. They're going to be taking pictures of the scene, and you don't want to move anything, if anything at all. I would expect and suspect that the bodies are also still in this house.
Yeah.
And so they kind of just zoom in on what they're doing. They're getting their cameras ready. And so this is what's telling me that they're the forensic team, is because of these cameras that they have. And so they're showing up, they're getting ready.
I'm putting on my favorite gloves. I fucking hate those blue gloves. Yeah, like they're so cheap when you put them on. Like if you pull too tight, they break. You end up smacking yourself.
So let's fast forward just a little bit. All right, so this is the side of the house. There's been a lot of speculation that these stools that are in the doorway here were from the police. I'm here to tell you that's complete crap. There is no way that's possible, and there's no way that they're doing that before the forensic team goes into the house and takes their pictures. There's no way that happens.
Yeah.
And so this tells me that was there when this house was discovered. Which brings me to another thing. There's been a lot of rumors and speculation that the girls ran outside. They had seen somebody deceased in the hallway, ran outside, passed out. Somebody called 911, and that's where the unconscious person came in. To debunk that, it would be pretty easy. At what point does she call the friends and the friends show up if that was the case? Right?
Yeah.
And so she called the friends, and the friends went over to the house. Perhaps at that point, maybe they got into, or maybe somebody entered somebody passed out, possibly. But you don't see a dead body, call your friends, have your friends show up, you run outside, and then you pass out, and then somebody calls 911. That doesn't make any sense. And so my speculation is, and it's been, I believe one of the newscasts that said that Madison's door was locked. I think if he locked the top door, he probably locked the second floor door where Ethan and Xana were at. And so if that ends up being the case, I'm assuming that they couldn't get into the door, and they called their friends to help them get into the door. But there, right here, as you can see, are the stools that are blocking this door from being open. Now, you can see this evidence tape here along the side. That could be, maybe a handprint or something, as if they assume somebody was looking in, something to that nature. But these stools down here are there prior to the forensic team getting down and taking the pictures. And so with that being said, I don't think they moved. I don't think law enforcement put this there. Second of all, look at what you can look through the windows here. You can see the stools in the background. If this was the exit point or the entry point, this suspect's going to be running out of the room, right? Or fleeing from this residence, potentially in a panic. They just killed 4 people. You would assume or think that potentially, if this person's damaged, they could be bleeding. If they injured themselves during the process of the attack, or if they're in a rush, hair could fall off of them. Any of those things could happen if they landed on this stool, or blood, or any of those things landed on that stool, and then the police officers use that stool to secure the back door, or to keep it from opening. That would completely contaminate the entire scene. And Lovely Sphinx, we are going to be putting in the join us at the end of the show. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Idaho 4 murders real quick. Then we'll go into the Delphi case, and then we'll be bringing on folks that want to join us on the live stream. So stay tuned. And so what do you guys think about this? Seeing this here, that tells me this isn't an exit point. What do you? I think maybe perhaps an entry point. And I would assume if he assumed that if the killer thought he got everybody in the house, he may have just walked out the front door. What do y'all think about these stools on the back slider?
Well, it looks maybe. I mean, it looks like it's wedged in there, right? So to secure the back door, the sliding door.
Yeah, that's so that nobody can open it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the front door would have been the easier exit.
Well, yeah, but like you don't think the police did that, right?
I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so either, man. But there is something else back here. You can see a screen on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's a screen on the ground.
Bent too.
It is bent. Now the other thing is too. It's probably for window out here. It looks like that's a bar. It's kind of hard to see the interior of the kitchen. You know what, man? I'm gonna find it later. I think we can look up what this kitchen looks like from those Zillow pictures. This one, it's possible that somebody could have came in through the back window.
Oh, it's two of them. I thought it was just one.
Yeah, no, it's two of them put back, side to side so that they're long enough to.
They're like intertwined, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of noise to put those together.
That would be a lot of noise, unless the girls put that, or the occupants put it that there, and this was not an exit or an entrance point at all.
Yeah, because, well, I don't know. But it will make a lot of noise to put those together.
I agree.
Yeah, but if you thought everybody was dead in the house,
Not everyone.
Yeah.
Almost.
What is that?
Right.
That wet substance.
That looks like a footprint, isn't it?
That does kind of look like a footprint, like the outer edge of a
heel,
maybe the heel or the outer edge of the front top part. That looks kind of out of place. That looks weird.
Yeah, it could be also maybe.
And this
melted
is blood. Maybe
there's no window for him to climb up from there, so there's no reason he needed to step there.
Unless he was just kind of like
walking around the building,
right. Like he was here at this window, try to make entry, came across here, try to look through the window, came around here, and then just jumped down instead of coming all the way around. I still see how this is so clean. Now, a lot of folks, I put out a TikTok and I put out a clip of, a potential entry point being this ledge right here. It's possible that while all the occupants of the house were gone, and somebody came in and made entry while they were gone and kind of hid out in that second bedroom.
Yeah.
Not knowing whose bedroom it was, especially if maybe perhaps somebody got home shortly after he made entry into the house. He may have been hiding in there for a while.
What's it called? I heard that the dog was in a separate bedroom by itself.
Well, the girls were in Madison's room, and I believe the dog belonged to Kaylee.
Yeah.
And I think the dog was in Kaylee's room.
Oh, okay. I thought there was another room that was not part of theirs that the dog was in.
Yeah.
Oh,
So there's footprints up here, but that could be from the police department.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
it could be anybody's.
Exactly. But
But if you see the view from the street side where that van is,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's daring enough, man, they can jump from that top, because it's kind of like there's a
Like a ledge.
there's a ledge, there's a retaining wall halfway
Mm.
up it, man. They're daring enough. It's only like maybe a 6-foot jump.
yeah, the only thing about that though is why go into the second floor and right now they're gonna just kind of pan off and take off. But and see, look, let's just take a little look right here. This is where, and in that other angle that we had seen on that other picture, you can see where right here it looks clear. And a lot of people were hitting me up in the comment section saying that there was pictures on IG where these girls were going up there and taking pictures on that ledge and using the ladder to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they use the ladder to get up there, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's possible. And so, those were the kind of the things that I saw that I wanted to point out. We had the breaking news about the white Elantra. Hey, man. That's not an Elantra, is it? No.
Negative.
No. And so I was like, are they looking for the vehicle that was parked up front? See if like that's crazy. But yeah, that's one thing we wanted to go through real quick before we get back into the Delphi murders and stuff like that. I think, and thank you, Steelers fan. Please, everybody, if you're watching, we're getting close to we just hit over 700 subscribers. We're trying to hit to 1,000. So if you guys could hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, that would definitely help us out. Get the channel going and get the content reaching more people. Thank you so much. The other thing that they were talking about is that the police are looking into and asking folks about the information on Ethan and Xana between the hours of 9 p.m. and 1:45 a.m. It was the police, for whatever reason, believe that they arrived at 1:45 a.m. They were at the fraternity house or the sorority house. I'm not sure which, whose house it was that they were at. But they were out there and at I'll tell you what it's called, the Sigma Chi House. And so they were out here, but I think they only have solid evidence of them until like 9 o'clock or 9:40 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is like, these are kids, man. Where's their phones? Wouldn't their phone kind of fill in a lot of that space in between? The kids are constantly on that phone. That'll leave a digital footprint and fingerprint of where they're going, what they were doing, the whole 9 yards. I found that to be an interesting thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys think? You think they got a suspect in mind? They got a white vehicle.
I think the police is just trying to, get whatever leads they can, trying to, turn over every rock.
For sure.
Also, did go ahead, Blue.
So I'm pretty sure they must have picked up the car around the time of the killings, and then they on some kind of camera, and they're trying to figure out if they saw something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's called on that car that they're looking for? Where did they say, or where around where it was parked, or
they said that they saw it. It was seen. It was the vehicle. Okay, so tips and leads have led investigators to look for additional information about a vehicle being in the immediate area of King Street residence during the early morning of the hours of the 13th. So this vehicle is probably, they were looking for some cameras from ring footage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they had a squared off subsection of the city blocked off that they were looking for these ring images. Yeah. And This tells me that somebody's caught something relatively fairly close. I mean, it says in the immediate area of King Street.
Yeah. And around the time of the
Right, in the early morning hours of November 13th.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. And so, I just wanted to kind of go over that and bring out the, what we're looking at as far as that Idaho murder case and especially with the breaking news of them searching for this vehicle. I think the cops have come out a couple of times and they reiterated not too long ago that they stated that they believe this was a targeted event. They still do. I feel that they've kind of had maybe perhaps an idea or a suspect in mind, and just haven't named that person yet because of evidence. But we'll see. They cleared a guy, the hoodie guy from the food truck stop. It's suspected that the guy's name is Jack S. or Showalter. They have cleared him. A lot of folks are looking at him thinking that maybe perhaps they cleared him a little bit too quick, including Kaylee's parents, Steve and Christy. There was enhanced audio of the food truck incident or not the incident, but where they were at the food truck and the hoodie guy is talking to the larger fella. And Madison turns around and kind of points in his direction. It's unsure. It seems like she's pointing at him and she's telling him, F you, mister. And people are kind of looking at that like, hey, man, that might be something. But it is pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. And so let's get into Delphi. Do you guys have anything new or anything before we get into, like, are you frozen? Oh, there you are. Let's get into the Delphi case. And guys, let us know y'all's thoughts and theories. If you guys see anything interesting in the live chat, please bring it up to my attention. Let's see real quick before we jump. William Ray says Jack's phone must have pinged off plenty of cell towers during a 5-hour drive. Yeah, but here's the thing. Without his permission, they wouldn't know that. And so what I'm assuming, and this is just my assumption, is he may have told police he went to his parents' house on a 5-hour drive, and his parents just accounted for him arriving 5 hours later. Who knows? This is a rural area. There's not very many license plate readers that are out on the highway out there, things of that nature. If this was a metropolis area or metropolitan area, you'd see license plate readers, cameras. You'd have like surveillance from traffic stop cameras, things of that nature to verify that this is a small rural area. And if he's going out of town, it's very unlikely that there's anything out there. And perhaps you're right. There should be a lot of pinged off towers, but without his permission or a warrant, the police would have no idea at this point. And they would have to have probable cause to get a warrant. And I think that those types of things perhaps would have been out there by now. But we'll see. We'll see. I saw on another channel that the first floor door was open in the morning. A neighbor reported it open as of 7:30 a.m. Yeah, see, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you see when you see the stools on the back glass door, that tells me that, and especially before the forensic scientists get there, or the investigators, I'm sorry, before they get there, before they're able to take their pictures of the scene preserved, that leads me to believe that that's not the exit point. I don't see it unless one of the other two roommates went upstairs and then they themselves did it before they found out that somebody had been assaulted. You know what I'm saying? If one of the surviving roommates may have secured that sliding door prior to the discovery of the dead bodies. That's a possibility. Let's see. Law enforcement did say the door was open when they arrived. Yeah, but at that point, by the time law enforcement arrived, there was the the two survivors that were uninjured that were on the first floor, and several friends of theirs that were there at that point. Let's see. This one's true. Need fuel for 300-mile drive. Cameras at gas station. I would definitely be, and that could be what cleared him. If he said that, hey, I was on a 5-hour drive, I stopped at this gas station, and they called and they looked at the cameras there, and they found somebody, they were able to identify him at that gas station certain hours away, then yeah, that definitely would have cleared him. And at that point, it doesn't matter how suspicious he looked at the food truck. It wasn't him. You know what I mean? All righty. All right. Or the other two did it and tried to make it look like a killer exited. I don't know. I don't think the girls are involved. The two that were there.
What would be the motive? Right.
Yeah. So
jealousy.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah, good.
All righty, so let's get into the Delphi case. If you're watching the replay on this, guys, you're the replay group. Give us your thoughts and theories in the live chat. Also, hit that like and subscribe button while you're watching this. So here, we're going to go back to the Richard Allen probable cause affidavit. We're going to discuss. There's been a lot of theories out there that there was two people on this bridge or in the area, that there was a second person out there. I don't know. Let's go through it and we'll talk about it. So, should I read everything or just kind of start off there? I think everybody's read this for the most part. So
skim through it.
Right. So this is the first part just kind of talks about the homicides, where they were located, and the video that was taken, and the instructions to go down the hill, and then the word gun also being used. They also talk about the clothes being found in the Deer Creek, belonging to both victim 1 and 2, south of where the bodies were. And they found a 40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim 2's body, between victim 1 and victim 2's body. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. So this is where we want to get into to see if there's a possibility of two people out here. It says interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles. Blank. In my opinion, I think it's blank, blank, and blank. Right? They have these redacted, right? So they advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from the Freedom Bridge toward the Monon High Bridge. So this is Juvenile 1, described the male as kind of creepy, and advised he was wearing light blue jeans and like a really light blue jacket, and he and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Juvenile, I'm guessing this is still I think this is still Juvenile 1. Advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at him. She recalled him. No, wait, this is Juvenile number 2.
Okay.
All right. So this is the second juvenile. Juvenile number 2 advised she said hi to the male subject, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall, with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". All right. Juvenile 2 advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated his hands were in his pocket. So these are two different folks. One of them is saying blue jeans, blue jacket. One is saying in all black with a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. Okay, this is Juvenile number 3. Showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was at the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and the other one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Juvenile 3, advised she took the photo of the bench. They started walking back toward the Freedom Bridge. She advised that is when they encountered the man, not the men, the man, who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's video. Juvenile 3 described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up and the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulders. She advised that juvenile number 2, the one that said that she said hi to him and he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
She advised juvenile 2 said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. So this is the same man that they encountered, right? She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going.
Yeah.
She stated his hands were in his pocket and he kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across the bridge, Freedom Bridge, to the old railroad bridge on Old State Road 25. So in my opinion, this is the 3 girls that Richard Allen also states later that he sees, with one of them being taller, right? These 3 girls said they saw one guy.
Yeah.
They said they encountered the man, and you have the 2 that describe wearing different clothing, describing the same incident as one of them saying hi, and the other one acknowledging that her friend said hi, and that the perpetrator said nothing back. So do you guys see if there's anywhere in this that says that there's 2 people on this trail right here?
No.
Okay. So the problem is a lot of folks are taking these descriptions and the witness testimony like a camera. They're taking it as these people cannot be wrong in any way, shape, or form. The problem with witness testimony is when these 3 girls walked past this guy, they weren't on alert for somebody who was about to commit a murder. They weren't on alert for anything. They were just walking home and happened to see a guy walk by.
Yeah.
Attention probably wasn't paid very closely. Right?
But do you know when they were interviewed? How long after the murders they were interviewed?
It doesn't say, but I believe they came out pretty close. That's the other thing. It doesn't say. Hold on.
Well,
No, it doesn't say.
I think most of the time you always hear it in cases. Eyewitness testimonies, they're not 100% lock and key. So that's why I think the bullet's going to be more their try to be their lock and key, kind of like to get them booked for it. Because I'll tell you, when I went for a hike today, I did almost 2 miles, and I probably passed like 6 people. And the only thing I remember is the 2 dogs that they were walking, because they were like 11 and a poodle. That's all I remember. I don't even remember the people. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, witness testimony is one of the most unreliable, and it's because, and you can see in this case now, Richard Allen, states that he was there. He puts himself at the scene, and in fact, let's see. Let's just kind of scroll down to there. All right, this is the investigators reviewing prior tips encountered and tip narrative from officer who interviewed Richard Allen in 2017. That narrative states, Mr. Allen was on the trail. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and he walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller. So this is definitely, they're definitely seeing each other. Now, does this mean this is the killer? No, this just means that the 3 juveniles saw Richard Allen. I mean, I don't doubt that one bit. The 3 juveniles that were questioned, the person they saw was definitely Richard Allen. Richard Allen describes the same incident, walking right by him and one girl being taller. And so do not deny that whatsoever. So Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30. 13:30 is 1:30 and 15:30 is 3:30. And so he said he saw 3 females, noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember the description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked on the High Bridge trail ahead. However, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or videos. Okay, so this is the potential follow-up information. Who are the 3 girls walking in the area of the Freedom Bridge? Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Services building, as there is not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe the females he saw included the 3 juveniles that are redacted due to the time they were leaving the trail and the time he reported getting to the trail and the descriptions of the 3 females. Right. And so one person says here that she must be tiny because RA is short. Correct. And it doesn't say the age of these juveniles. And there's a possibility that, this could have been a younger sibling of one of the juveniles, thus making them even shorter than would anticipate. Right. So investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles, in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvester video at 127 traveling westbound on County Road 300 North in front of the Hoosier store, which coincide with the statement that he arrived at 1:30 on the trails. Now, one thing that I've noticed in this probable cause affidavit is they will put any information that is corroborating. For instance, he says he showed up there. They have footage of it, and they put it in there. They don't have anything in there on him leaving. They don't have any of that corroborating evidence that they saw his vehicle leave. So perhaps he took another route that didn't go in front of the Harvest store. And there's nothing of him in front of that camera walking full of blood or mud. That would be on here because everything else, including the lady that saw the person walking, that person walking that saw a guy walking with blood and mud all over him that looked like he was in a fight, their vehicle was seen on that camera and it is put on this report. So anything that they have that corroborates it, that makes it fact, that's on here. Now, they saw a vehicle that matches the Ford Focus heading towards that direction, right? Investigators note that witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Service building as a PT Cruiser, a small SUV, or a smart car. Now, from a small SUV to a smart car, that's anything.
Yeah. Well, is the Ford Focus that he had, or is it the sedan, or is it the hatch?
I've heard rumors it was the hatch, but I haven't seen a picture of the actual vehicle.
Okay. Because like some of the hatchbacks kind of look like those little small cars in certain angles.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think it could also just be misidentifying a vehicle too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at a small SUV to a smart car, and it wasn't uncommon for vehicles to be parked there. They said that there was vehicles that were parked looking kind of odd because it was backed in. However, like this is where he was parked at the old CPS building. Like, we'll put a mark here. This is the bridge. It's 3/4 of a mile away. And if you go all the way to where the bodies were discovered, it's about a mile the way the crow flies. And so that's a long distance to go back to. Like, you would assume, and also if he did walk back across the road, right, as the lady said, because she said she saw him on the north side of the road, which is on this side of the road, where you would assume he would have got, if he was able to, elude this camera and knew about this camera to get back, that he would have parked maybe over here or somewhere else. You know what I mean? There's evidence, enough evidence to find that Richard Allen was parked here and walked the trails. And in my opinion, all that does is just confirm that. And he said that he was there. And so this says, on October 13th, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trail, stated he saw the juvenile girls east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went in onto the Monhon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated that when he went onto the Monhon High Bridge to watch the fish, later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back and sat on the bench trail and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and or blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and they were at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard Allen did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13th, investigators executed a search warrant on the residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a 6 Sauer Model P226 40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627. Between October 14th and 19th, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed analysis on Allen's gun. And the laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm function test, barrel, and overall length measurement, test firing, ammunition component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim body 2 had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's 6 Sauer. So here's the thing, though, about that gun. An identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement class of characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impression marks as evidence of correspondence of pattern or combination of patterns of surfaces contours. The interpretation of identification is subject in nature and is based on relevant scientific research and reporting examiners' training and experience. So it's basically what this is saying is that the markings that were left, Blue, that the markings that were left on the casing are subjective and opinion based. What do y'all think about that?
You know what? I was watching a video on that, especially because they mentioned the Innocence Project, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to play that one. Yeah, go ahead.
What's it called? But I was thinking, like, maybe it's not actually the markings. Maybe it's a partial fingerprint. I mean, you do have to push down the round into the magazine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe it's a partial.
I think the print would have been on there if that's what they had. Not saying that there isn't a print, but it said identifying marks that are characteristics from the bullet that shown that it came from the same gun. So they're talking about the markings on the side of the bullet. I'm going to show a video clip if you guys don't mind muting yourselves really fast. They're gonna talk about this this bullet. Let's do it. So this type of evidence has not been 100% solid in the past, but let's just play a little bit of devil's advocate real quick. Let's just say that round did go through Richard Allen's gun, and that bullet did belong to Richard Allen. Do y'all see a scenario where he's innocent and the bullet still gets there and it still went through his gun?
Damn, that's a big what's it called? That's a big maybe, because like, man, how far was his bullet away from the bodies?
2 feet between the bodies too.
Man, that's if the guy's innocent and the bullet was just there, then that's just bad. That's some bad luck, man. Shit. That's something that will happen to me and shit.
Yeah. It's it definitely isn't good luck.
Do you know? Okay, on that video, they were saying that they match the markings, right? The tool markings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're matching the tool markings. So when it ejects out of the gun, okay.
Yeah, it's the extractor markings.
Okay, because there's also makes marks whenever you're putting it in a magazine too.
Right.
So like maybe not the extraction point tool marks, but maybe they're
if they said that it recycled through the gun, that would probably mean that it went through the chamber.
I was gonna say I thought maybe they were checking also like the tool markings when it's being inside the magazine itself.
Right. What about you, Blue? Do you see any way possible that bullet went through Richard Allen's gun and it not be he be innocent in this?
I would say it's very unlikely, man. I think the girls weren't known to hang out with his daughter, right? They weren't over at his place where they would pick it up. Like if we left it on the counter or left it, the girls weren't avid gun shooters who they'd go to a range, and I haven't heard anything about Allen going often. So I would say probably not, man. And then from what the reports say is if they did have it on their person, like say they got it from somebody, their clothes wasn't near them.
Mm-hmm.
So like I think he used it as intimidation. When he cocked it back, it shot out and he couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's possible. Now I'm going to give you guys a little bit of reasonable doubt. You guys ready?
Okay.
Richard Allen was there at 1:27. He was searching his phone. There's a possibility that he's gone to a gun range before in his life and put ammunition in his pocket. If he pulls out his phone on the trail and there be an unspent caliber round in his pocket, there's a possibility that round falls onto the ground. And if these girls were behind him, is there a possibility these girls see this unspent round on the ground, pick it up out of curiosity? It's now on their person during the commission of this murder, falls out of whatever pocket while he's ripping their clothes off.
Well, let's put it this way. If you're putting bullets in your pocket, you shouldn't be wearing the damn gun, because bullets in your pocket, you put it in the laundry, you wash it, you throw it in the dryer, that's just going to go off. It's going to go off.
No, yeah, that's quite possible. But when you have, I've seen it before. I've seen it before where people have ammunition in their pockets.
It happens. It's just like, man, that's dumb. You know what I mean? Never put ammunition in your pockets, man. And I should know. You know why? Because I go to Mexico. They find you with the bullet at the crossing at the border.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be held to pay.
I'll tell you this: when I was an officer, we had to go and work the security sometimes for TSA, and there'd be several times where people were walking through the airport screening with bullets in their pockets. And it was because they went to a gun range, they picked it up, they put their casings, they did those types of things and put it in their pocket.
That's dumb.
And, I've gone to a trail. I've been on several trails, walking trails, nature trails, where I've seen ammunition on the ground.
I've seen bullet casings, but I've never seen an actual bullet round. Like unspent, you know what I mean? I've seen bullet casings and brass and whatnot, but I never come across, actual live round, and I've been hunting since like I was like 13. Yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
I mean, it's hunting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean that would be if I was Richard Allen, that would be what I would be yelling out right now.
oh yeah, definitely.
I was like, hey man, I go to the gun range, I shoot my guns, I cycle the bullets through there. Sometimes I put them in the pocket of my sweater. I put my phone in my pocket, pulled out my phone. The ammunition fell down. I was there before these girls arrived, right? And it's possible that these girls picked it up, had it on their person when they encountered the real killer. I mean, that's what I would be yelling out from the rooftops.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, if you went to an actual gun range, there's always video evidence at most gun ranges nowadays. They keep good track. I remember the gun club I go to, I had to sign in every time I go. So
yeah, but I mean, you also gotta think too. He's in a rural area. He might have a buddy that has like some open land somewhere, and they just go out there and just shoot out, downrange. And
to the back of the CVS and shoots the raccoons.
yeah, I mean those things are possible too. And so, if that's one explanation as to why they got it, one key thing that I would do is look for some DNA on that bullet. If Richard Allen's DNA is on there, then that's definitely comes from his round or his gun, and it's his.
Yeah.
But if the girl's DNA is on it, that means they picked it up. You get what I'm saying? Because if it was a scenario where he, pulled the slide back in an intimidation factor, right?
Yeah.
And it popped out, he didn't think about it, or even if there was a slight struggle and one of them pulled the slide back during the struggle and the round he ejected at that point, that round wouldn't have touched those girls. It would have just flew out, right? And so if there's like some kind of DNA from those girls, hand DNA from them picking it up or whatever, that would lead me to believe that they picked it up prior to. But
I don't know. I just don't see, like, what are the odds, man? You know what I mean?
It's not a long trail, man. It's not a very long trail.
One bullet between these two girls. One bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's one of those things where,
like to prove his innocence, if I would have known I forgot that there, I'd be like, oh, I go to the woods all the time and shoot my gun. Yeah, I shoot at trees, shoot at squirrels. I would put myself in that area, and he said he's never been on that property.
Right. But those girls were at one point. And if those girls picked it up and they had it on their person, then they took the bullet to that property. The thing is, at the end of the day, it's not the defense team to prove that he's innocent. It's the prosecutor to prove he's guilty. And if that is, their one and only claim, their smoking gun, I think that somebody can reasonably put the bullet there in that form or fashion. Now, the one thing about his statement that I'm seeing is he says he was there till about 3:30, right? Those girls were dropped off. I want to say it was at 1:47 or so. And they were on the bridge at 2:13 taking pictures. He claims he never saw them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That one, that's kind of weird. But I think when you look at it, it's probably him. But there has to be more evidence in this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it probably is him, but we're just you're what we're trying to do is say that he can use.
This is going to be his defense.
Yeah, his defense is can use this. They can easily use it.
Yeah.
to prove him innocent. Like, yeah, sure, he was at the scene, and maybe like you said, oh yeah, maybe he dropped the round or whatever. The girls picked it up. That could have been given reasonable doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if this is it, if this is all they have, which I doubt it, I'm sure they have more. I'm hoping, but what's it called? If this is if it was just this, if this was it, and they had nothing else, like they wouldn't be able to convict him.
I don't think so, man. I think there's a lot of question marks in here about it
Yeah,
already.
District attorney would turn down the arrest warrant if it wasn't enough, I would think.
Well, you have to. The thing is, the judge that approved the arrest warrant reclused himself
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't want any problems with his family and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And I was watching, I think it's like Crime Talk, or I don't know what. It's a lawyer, and he has a docket, and he's pretty informative. There's a few people that I watch. Him, Detective Maines, cold case investigator, things like that have experience in law enforcement, and he was talking about it, and he's like, you recluse yourself for this. This isn't something you recluse yourself unless you're not proud of the fact that you issued out an arrest warrant based on this probable cause affidavit. It's weak. It is weak. I mean, the fact that you have somebody there at a public trail doesn't mean that the person committed the crime. It's suspicious. It's hella suspicious.
Very.
One guy here, and I saw it earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. He said that you could see Richard Allen's truck or vehicle at the old CPS on the footage. Let's.
Oh, yeah, the helicopter footage. Is that what it's talking about?
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah.
Let's
We have it, don't you? Don't you have it?
I do. I have it right here. Let's bring it up. We looked at this last time. This was the day of. Just got to get my gatherings as far as where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the Freedom Bridge. There's the trail, the way it starts. It's back this way. It's right here. I don't see any cars there.
Does the video keep on going around?
Yeah, let's see.
It said he was backed up against the building, and I don't see nothing.
You see, and that's not like the best place to park. Like, if you don't want to get seen, it's a common place that people go to the trail park at.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read and understood, it's not. What do you call it? It's far away, unless there's. William Ray says Libby fought whose DNA was below her nails. The Ronald Logan search warrant, which has a lot of detailed information about the scene, says that there was no sign of fight or struggle. So a lot of those are rumors and details and supposed text messages that were released that I find to be a little sketchy. But yeah, the Ronald Logan search warrant talks about there was no struggle or fight from the girls. All righty. I don't see a vehicle parked out there. What about you, Blue?
No, because the only thing I see is that little white thing in there, but that could be like a trash can, like right in the front of the building. Like, not in the front, but like at the end of the parking lot. But don't know, like it looks like an extra like patch of parking.
Right. So you can see cars passing, so we're not like too far away from it that we couldn't see the car. You know what I mean? So This is a vehicle there. We've seen on this side there was nothing there. I don't see a vehicle at the old CPS building there still. So, okay. My next question is, I wonder. I'm gonna look it up real quick. What about if there's an alternate route that doesn't go in front of that Hoosier store that Richard Allen could have gone home to? You know what I'm saying?
It looks like if you go around like from that building, you can go under the overpass on that camera, on that video.
Right.
And
Let's see.
so if he went that way, you would go around that store.
Oh, yeah. Watch right here. Look, so if he was parked here and then he left this way underneath, came back this way, would have gotten back on this highway here.
Yeah.
And that would have been the fastest trip home.
He wouldn't pass that store.
Yeah, he could have gone this direction and then, or
He could pull a Daniel and cut the grass, but then you get a $280 fine if they catch you. Just because you have 4x4 doesn't mean you can use it. That's what the cop told me.
Oh man, I thought somebody told you about me going through the grass. I'm like, what are you talking about?
So we did that in the Camaro, bro.
We did do that in the Camaro. I was like, who told you about that, Blue? You weren't there.
I had a 4x4 Explorer, and there was a ton of traffic in San Antonio, and I was like, I was gonna be late to work. I was like, everybody's cutting through the grass. I got 4x4. I'll cut through the grass. Except the car behind me was a 4x4, and they couldn't get up on the damn embankment. So he like stopped in front of me, and by the time I knew it, the car, I couldn't go around them. The cop was behind me. I got
man. But also, so question: I know that they say they saw a vehicle matching Richard Allen's vehicle passing in front of the Harvard store going towards the old CPS building. Why would he be going that direction?
At what time was this?
At 1:27. They saw a vehicle matching his description coming this direction. If
he
he was coming from home, why would he go that direction? Like, why not go this direction around and then, let me see. Unless, because you can't turn off here. Why would you go that direction? You know what? I'm gonna look up Google Maps. I'm gonna find the address real quick to his house off of that probable cause affidavit, and then I'm gonna find the old address to that, and I'm gonna map it out real quick. Let's see. His address was like 1967 something. Go ahead, Blue.
I was gonna say, yeah, like there looks like there's a road that goes straight through town that goes straight to that area, and for him to go all the way around is kind of crazy.
You know what? We don't need help. I just noticed something here. Nothing about the. We don't have the banner running for what's it called, for email, so you can.
Oh yeah. So if you guys are interested in coming on the show, we'll be doing that here pretty soon. Send us an email and then we'll send you the link. Our email is drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com.
Boom.
Okay, yeah. If you can send us that photo through @drunkturkeyshow@gmail.com, I'll be able to get that as well.
What's it called? Yeah, if you guys see me just randomly jump out, is because I have a real bad cough, so I gotta go get some water, man, before I die, before I come up with lung and shit.
Hey, man, we'll get more views that way. Stay on.
I know.
We're trying to get to 1,000, guys.
What's it called?
To 1,000.
It's weird. I get off of the show and it jumps viewers. I was like, oh shit, he's gone. This is I'll get on. And then I get back on and it goes down again.
Nah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up my email real quick. I'm gonna look for the address right real fast as well. So, what are y'all thinking, man? Do y'all think that it was Richard Allen after all this, or do you think that perhaps they got the wrong guy?
Oh man, I'm hoping to have more than just the toe marks on the the bullet.
Do you think that it's odd that he would have kept the jacket?
Yeah. If I committed a murder and I've been seen by 3 other people in the scene, I will probably get rid of all
Yeah,
All the evidence that I had on.
I'll be having a barbecue that afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A bonfire. You know,
Yeah.
with the what's it called? The steel can.
So, no, I agree. I mean, I would have destroyed it. The fact that he kept it, or, and like I said, if he did do this, he puts himself on the scene, on the bridge, with the at the time wearing telling him what he's wearing, and I guess he probably assumed that they may not have had him dead to rights, but would have seen him, the 3 juveniles, and so I don't think he could have lied about it, and so maybe that's why he went and said that. Here it is. Found his address finally. Now I just got to find the address for.
Check our email.
Yeah, I just got to find the address for the old CPS building there in Delphi.
Mm. Damn. You know what, man? I'm getting older. I can't see, man. I need glasses now.
All right, I found it. All right, so let's do this real quick. So the old building was at 3. I'm sorry, dyslexia. 6931 West 300 North in Delphi, Texas. Delphi, Indiana.
It's
Man, I'm all over the place.
So I was like, what? It's here in Texas?
Everybody's getting killed in Texas these days.
Let's see. Check starting point, paste. Alrighty. All right, so this doesn't even show. Oh, but you know what? This has it stopped here. That's why. It has them stopped right on the highway, in the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
If they had to stop here, there it is. It don't show going this route through in front of that that store. And if he were to have gone to that store, like how out of the way is that? Because the alternate route,
there's no private road.
maybe, but like to go onto this road here, to be traveling in this direction towards the CPS,
yeah, you had
to go way out of your way.
Yeah.
Like, where does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. I think that the vehicle that they spotted on the camera going that direction that they claim matches the description of his. I find it hard to be that it was his. I don't see him going that direction. That's probably why they don't see him leaving that direction either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they only have a vehicle going that direction that one time.
Maybe it's just a vehicle that looked like his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of vehicles that look like each other.
Right.
I mean, isn't like when you buy a car, then all of a sudden you see it everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, like I bought the Elantra, and then we had it for like a month, and I was like, dude, they're everywhere. Like, I didn't know. Is this a new Cavalier?
Yeah. Nah, yeah, for sure. And so
they kind of are right now with Hyundai's issues, man. They have a bad motor in them.
Well, it depends how you drive them.
No, the Sonatas have a bad motor in them that they replaced. Like,
don't say that. I just bought one, so
they're getting replaced like, batteries on smoke detectors, bro. That's how bad they are.
Luckily, I don't have smoke detectors. So if this bitch burns down, we're done.
All right, I'm gonna put the live stream in the live chat, y'all. You will have to show your camera. A camera have to be on before we pull you out on the show. So it's in there. Let me pin it. Pin the message. Boom. So they need to take a part of each of his car radios and swab, video each button, and turn turn handle, trunk lock, all aluminum also. Yeah, no, for sure. You see, the thing is about that is you would think that that would be in the probable cause affidavit to arrest him.
But
You know, putting something that is subject to opinion, like the markings on a tool, and saying that there was just limited witnesses that saw him out there isn't really enough. That's enough to make you a suspect for sure.
I think it's the car, like breaking down the car, it ain't gonna work because two things. The bodies were never moved. You know, he never carried any bodies in that car. The other part
But
is he got in it with mud and blood supposedly, but to me he probably cleaned off some in the river. And it's already been 5 years. How many times do you think he's wiped down that car? Or 7 years?
yeah, but like blood doesn't go away that easy, man. I mean, even if you bleach it and you get that luminol spray, it's still gonna pop out.
A little bit of hydrogen peroxide and water will get rid of it. That stuff bubbles up. If you ever seen it, it bubbles up and then you just scrub it out.
Yeah, but I mean,
That might work.
to get every nick and cranny, I mean, you're talking everything. And like the comment was, you know, radio dial, locks, handles, door handles, things of that nature, shift knob, the anything. And you know, at the end of the day, this person took these girls' clothes off, right? So like hair probably went onto his person. You know, there was a transfer of hair and other probably fluids or whatnot. There's no way in my mind that this guy, especially, you know, you commit these murders in broad daylight, you're getting out of there as fast as you possibly can after that point. You don't want to get seen. You know, if you're covered in blood, you don't want anybody seeing you, you know, getting in your vehicle covered in blood. So you're probably moving with a purpose, getting in to not make a mistake is hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that, to me, the car is too old. Like the other case that we were doing, they found the car a year later, but it had already been through the auction sellers and it had been through the owner. Cops broke it down. There was nothing in it. You know what I mean? Evidence was gone. Talking about 7 years of cleaning with Armor All wipes, spraying down, vacuuming, washing your car. I don't think it's going to be.
Could be. Either that or either there wasn't not enough evidence in there to begin with, or there was just really good cleaning.
That, and also, I mean,
because I mean, of course, it breaks down after so many like, you know, time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my thing is like you want to also, like, you don't, as the prosecutor wants to settle this out. They're going to come in heavy and swift in hopes that somebody's going to, you know, all right, I'll confess for a lighter sentence, this, that, and a third, right? I don't see any of that here. It's like they're showing their hand. They finally got something. And if the rumors are right that this had nothing to do with Kegan Kline or his father, and that this was a situation where they searched the Wabash River, didn't find anything. They were frustrated because they got tired of dealing with Kegan Kline and all his lies. So they decided to go back. They found this, you know, I guess, interview from a conservation officer that was lost due to a clerical error. And now, hey, you know what? This guy said he was there. This guy said that he had guns and stuff. Let's go ask him or whatever. They get the warrant because based on the fact that he was matching the description of the person that was out there. Like that, that makes it seem like they have probably less evidence as well. You know, because everything that they've had up to this point has been kind of leading towards Kegan Kline or Tony Kline. I mean, at first it was pretty obvious what they were doing. I mean, you can kind of follow the footsteps of what the police are doing. Mm-hmm. You know, they assumed that it was Ronald Logan right away. The sketch was an older guy. Ronald Logan lied about his alibi. He did a lot of things that would make you say that this person was guilty. They found out that, during the investigation that he violated his probation. He ended up getting 18 months in prison, probably because he was driving and or drinking at the time of when these murders had occurred.
Yeah.
And so, that ends up happening. Then you have these girls being victims of a catfishing by Kegan Kline.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Jeannie Smith about that, and I was like, perhaps those are the tentacles that Doug Carter was talking about. Not so much that there was a lot of details and a lot of people connecting, but more so that there was a lot of kind of like a maze where you have a lot of paths that seem promising, but end up being dead ends. You have all these strings that, all right, this guy lied about his alibi. This guy over here is catfishing, trying to meet up with the victim. All these things that would make you believe that they were involved. And if they weren't, then they were just kind of dead ends and paths. And that might be also why he made the statement of, when you go back and you look at what we did, you might question yourself or say you should have done A, B, and C instead of D and E. Meaning you should have gone and looked at the people who claimed they were there at the time and gone down those people first versus this other stuff. But I don't blame him. I look at what Ronald Logan had done. He lied about his alibi. And a lot of people say, oh man, he lied. He didn't know that there was, he asked for an alibi before the bodies were discovered. Yeah, but the girls were already missing. People were looking for him when he came up with the alibi. So it's possible he was just trying to prevent somebody from, finding out that he was either out driving or drinking, which he wasn't allowed to be doing. But yeah, it is definitely going to be a crazy situation. What do y'all think about that? The tentacles, do you think that's what it could be? Just a bunch of dead ends?
It could be. I mean, each case has them. And then the police, that's the job. The job is to follow these leads and then make sure that they have some, meat to them, if you can. And if they don't, well, then they can get rid of that one, scratch it out, and then move on to the next one. And I think that's what's happening. I think that's what that was, the tentacles that just they gotta go through all of them, make sure they can, find out that it can hold water,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I was watching. I just finished watching the whole documentary this morning, so I couldn't sleep. With the Casey Anthony series.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you saw how that one
played out. Yeah, exactly, man.
So you never know until they go to court, until they figure stuff out, and then
everybody knows she did it, and she's still.
She convinced me that it was her dad.
Oh, I don't know about that, dude.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Even if it was, I mean, I'm sure she knew something about it. Let's just say that's the point.
I saw one part of it where, okay, so it kind of comes into this instance. Is it possible that the dad or the grandpa was doing something inappropriate? Maybe. But does that mean that is it also possible at the same time that this young little girl could have been a victim of two different crimes? There's a lot of things that indicate that Casey Anthony was responsible or had knowledge of.
Yeah, definitely.
Of the death there. And one thing is, and I saw it earlier, and this one guy goes, so you're on trial for murder for your child. I think they have the death penalty out there. And you wait 11 years to come up with the theory that it was your father. Yeah. Instead of then, if you knew the whole time,
Why not just come out with it?
Why wait?
I think it was both of them. That's what I think. She was probably high on meth or something. Something happened.
So that's neglection.
Her story's never linked up. It was always a different story.
I don't know. We need to go into that case because I'll be honest with you. There's only so much I've seen of it. Maybe we'll do that. Let us know in the live chat. Do you guys want us to cover that case next week?
That'll be fun. I think we talked about this a couple of times, haven't we?
Yeah. We need to go into that one.
Never done it.
Yeah, we always bring it up, but never haven't got on it, man.
No.
I woke up last night at midnight because I accidentally slept all day yesterday, and I didn't go to sleep till 11 a.m. this morning, so I stayed up watching it.
All right, I got that picture. Let me pull it up real quick from the live chat. Let's see.
Before you bring it up, I just want to say peace out. I gotta get to work, guys. Have a good night, man. I'll jump on when I get to work if y'all still on here.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
Man. Take care. Be careful.
Be careful out there, man.
Sir.
I see this picture, but I'm not sure what we're looking. This is just an image. Is this the car? That's not the old CPS building, though. All right. I'll see if I can find that image and correlate it. We have a guest in the backstage. Let us know with a thumbs up if you're ready to come on in. I'm not sure if she can hear me. Oh, there she is. Let's do it. How's it going, lovely Sphinx? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. So
I don't
do you
mean
have
to
any
piss off.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I don't mean to get people upset in the comments in the chat. We just had a little exchange. I know everybody has their own opinion, and it's just it's hard to know what is right and what is wrong, and it's just a complicated case.
Yeah,
definitely. And that's what we're doing here. You know, trying to see everybody's opinions, including ours. You know what I mean? We're not here to fight, or we're not here to argue with anybody. Right. We're open to opinions.
Yeah, me neither. It's just a devastating case, and it's extremely sad, and all of us want the bad guy caught. And
oh yeah, definitely. And hopefully this time next year it should be over by this time.
So I found so that picture that he sent me is right here. It's off of this drone footage. This is somewhere else. I'm not sure. That could be a undercover vehicle. That could be there's a bunch of cars placed in a bunch of different places as they're looking for these girls. But that's on the other end of the Freedom Bridge. This is where the CPS building is that Richard Allen was claimed to have parked at and stated he parked at. And let's see if I can get another. I want to get a view. Okay, so this is the farm where they have the camera, I believe. This is the Myers farm. And this is the road in which somebody would have been traveling at. Mm-hmm. And this is the area in which the one of the witnesses stated that they saw him walking along the edge on the north end of the road. So it's on this side. Yeah. Man, it's flat. Like you can see for a while.
Yeah. That's the cemetery on the left?
Yeah, that's the cemetery. Yeah, correct. In fact, the bodies are somewhere back here. Mm-hmm. And this is the high bridge.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide on that road.
Nah, and so like my thing is like I find it hard to believe that somebody's walking down that way. You know, and it's not corroborated. You know, everything else in the probable cause affidavit is corroborated. It's with that camera. I wonder if I find it odd. I find it very odd. Now, the other thing about this was, and this could be why he was traveling on this road, right? So I just came up with an idea. you look at what he was wearing, right? He was wearing heavy clothing. He was wearing something that appeared to be that he was out there a long time. In fact, when we looked at him, we thought he was outside the entire morning, stalking, looking for somebody. But apparently he had shown up at 1:30. Now, let's go back to this image here. If he's coming down this road here, this is that Myers Farm. There's that Hoosier Hardware store.
Yeah.
Perhaps he was stalking and hunting other trails earlier that day along this end. I wonder if there's any other trails, parks, or anything this direction, or maybe even this. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if he was out there that morning and he didn't find anything there, and then he was like, "All right, I'm gonna head on to the Monhan High Bridge and just kind of hang out there," and he came from one trail to another and showed up here. That to me would kind of explain the clothing as well, because I felt like he was wearing some clothing that didn't make a lot of sense for the weather and the temperature, and he showed up there at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At 1:36, something like that.
Yeah. There's Riley Park. Let me see. Let me look for that. I wonder if anybody's seen him out there that morning. I would be looking for videos and images, because I mean there could be a possibility that he was out in multiple parks and or trails or whatever the case may be that could potentially get him out there. Oh, let's see. So, Lovely Spinks, what kind of thoughts and theories do you have on this case? Oh, I think you might be frozen.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, you're frozen pretty good. I'm gonna pull you out of the stream, see if you can reconnect to it, and then let us know when you're back on. It don't take much to conceal a handgun. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think that they have to have more. The prosecution seems like they're confident in this case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they came out saying they were confident, but then they go ahead and put a gag order to stop the defense from putting out information out there.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. If you had like a defense team or whatnot, you would want to hold on one second. Okay, yeah, no, that's the same thing. You'd want the prosecution, the defense team to talk as much as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, it looks like we got you back. I see you moving around. So can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. So what are your thoughts and theories on this case?
I've been thinking a lot about this case, and definitely it seems like Richard Allen is not, there's no strong case against him, but to me it seems like Libby sealed this case with that video of her because Richard Allen admitted being there. He placed himself on that bridge in a blue jacket and blue jeans, and then with a hat, and then teenagers have seen him, and then what are the odds that he's on Libby's phone telling the girls down the hill, which is a kidnapping?
Right. Well, there's one thing that I found odd is that the three juveniles didn't positively identify him as the guy that they see on the bridge and Libby's phone. They identify him as being like, I would have interviewed them, asked them about what they saw, And then I would have also showed them the footage afterwards of what they had. You know, the 6-second clip of him walking that they released to the public. And I would have asked, is this the person that you see? And unless the answer was yes, or anything other than yes, it would be on there. If they said that, I don't know, maybe, then that's probably why it's not in there. But that's concerning to me that they don't positively say that's the guy that we saw walking on the trail.
Yeah,
that was on that thing. They say that they saw a guy that described that kind of matches his description.
yeah,
But they don't.
That's what I noticed too. That they didn't actually go and say, "Oh, yeah, that's exactly the guy who was there," or whatnot. But they do have all the somewhat similar description of what he was wearing and whatnot.
Right.
And
Well,
Go
in
ahead.
my opinion, if you like are not paying attention, you glance at the person and then just randomly and then keep going, and then you're being asked to remember how he looks like, it is really difficult to recollect. And
No, for
especially
sure.
right, and especially for teenagers that usually don't pay attention to much of anything. So I think that's why these statements are inconclusive, and I am not sure if I think the prosecution needs to dress Rich Allen into what he was wearing on the bridge, and they need to put them in a line with different guys wearing the same thing and have the girls identify him, even though it's been just like of identification.
Right. And you're breaking up a little bit, but I got the gist of what you said. And I agree. And that's why they ask to identify what they saw. You're breaking up really good. But I got the first part of it.
Yeah, I don't know if they
So
yeah, I don't know if
typically
they
would happen is
like had Richard.
so what they should have done now, smaller departments and things of that nature sometimes can drop the ball on a few things, but I know that the Indiana State Police was heavily involved in this, and they're a much larger department. But what you typically do is you're going to want to interview these juveniles separately and independently to make sure that they have the same story. And then after you got their descriptions and things of that nature, you would show them pictures or footage and ask them, is this the person that you saw? That's not something that's uncharacteristic. My concern is the fact that they didn't say positively yes. Now, doing a description based off memory, what they wore, things of that nature, yeah, but seeing somebody in person or seeing a photo of somebody would be a little bit should draw back your memory a little bit more clearer than you're just trying to remember purely off of memory. And so those two things can exist. And I don't doubt that the three girls saw Richard Allen. Richard Allen admitted to seeing three juveniles and one being taller. And one of these girls saying that she wasn't, he wasn't taller than her. So he had to be under 5'10", meaning that was a taller female. And so I don't doubt one bit that Richard Allen was seen there. Richard Allen puts himself there, all those things. What comes in question is, all right, can we put Richard Allen with that bullet? Is that bullet, belong to him? And if it does, then we got to also make sure that ammunition, like, how did it get there? Now, the three juveniles described this man not on his phone, but with his hands in his pocket, walking. He says he got on his phone at one point to check the stock ticker. Like I mentioned before, if he had a couple of ammunition rounds in his pocket for whatever reason, he pulled out his phone at that point to check the stock ticker thing. There's a possibility if he had a round in his pocket as he pulls out his phone that round falls. Now, he reported being at that trail ahead of Libby and Abby. So if Libby and Abby were behind him and happened to see the round on the ground and pick it up and put it in their pocket or whatnot, then that would explain that round being at the scene. Now, that's a lot of ifs and hypothetical impossibilities, but what it also is a plausible, reasonable explanation as to why it's there. And, you know, at that point, you have to realize that it does bring in some doubt, because you have, in order to convict him, it has to be, there can't be any doubt that he didn't do it. And so in my opinion, does bring in some reasonable doubt. Let's see.
They can match that bullet to the box of ammo in his house.
Right. And so let's go back here. So William, real quick, you're saying that there was a vehicle. See, there was a vehicle parked here. And my question is, but the question was, it was the old CPS building here is where he said he was parked, and where a bunch of the witnesses said that they saw a vehicle parked, kind of suspicious. And if they saw a vehicle traveling in this direction, it would be believed that they could park there. Now, I do get what you're saying, because this is the Freedom Bridge. It's on this opposite side. Maybe. I mean, unless he lied about where he parked at, which I would have. If I committed the murder, I wouldn't tell people where I was parked at. It just seems, you know, the thing is, he said that he parked at the bridge. I mean, at the building, and there was witnesses that said they saw a vehicle parked there that seemed kind of suspicious. Okay, so my thing is, so there has to be more to this than just that, because I feel if they go to trial with just that being the only evidence, it's going to be kind of tough. It's going to be tough to prove. Let's see.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand we only need one reasonable doubt. And
Jeannie Smith said he said that he parked at the old Farm Bureau building. The only thing about that is, well, there is supposedly, and I found something that said that there was, but it was like in town, like way far away. It is interesting, though. It definitely is. And Richard Dobson says he placed himself on the platform. One witness saw him and turned around. Yeah, no, he actually did. He certainly did.
He also said that he didn't see Libby and Abby, right?
Right. He said he claims that he went to the first platform, was looking down at the fish, which is kind of a bit of a stretch on its own. And then he went back, sat down, and left at 3:30. The thing is,
I know his Richard Allen's wife ended up like deleting a bunch of photos and whatnot, right, on her Facebook, and then I think the daughter too.
Yeah,
the daughter too. I think I heard I saw a picture a while back when of Richard Allen's daughter in the same spot, around the same spot in the bridge, like the year afterwards, something like that.
I think it was actually a couple of years before.
Okay.
So apparently there's an entrance as well somewhere around here. And this is where Libby and Abby were dropped off. They weren't dropped off at the start of the trail. And so my thing is, if he was on this bench after 2:00, I'm not sure where this bench is that he claims he was at. I don't know. I'm not familiar with this trail. Where does it go after this part? After the bridge? Because I know there was a barricade here that wasn't supposed to prohibit people from crossing the bridge.
Yeah.
And so is this trail a trail that just comes straight from here to the bridge, turn around and go back? Because if that is, and he claims not to have seen him and was there until about 3:30, and that brings some big questions. Like, You were there till 3:30. You got there before them, and you never saw them on a trail that's one way trail.
Yeah,
It's a dead end. I thought that's what I'm thinking too. And so that's pretty damning, to be honest with you. To say that you were there till 3:30, got there before the girls arrived, and not to have seen them.
just the witnesses.
Yeah, just the witnesses. The witnesses described seeing you and only you when they left. You're claiming you. I think he said he saw other people there, but ahead of him, but he didn't pay attention.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I think that's pretty damning.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he put himself at that place to like throw people off the trail. You know what I mean? No pun intended.
No, I think he went there and told people he was there. I'm not sure if he was working at the CVS. I think he was already at that point. You know, it's a small community.
Yeah.
I'm fairly positive that, you know, everybody goes to that CVS to get their prescription drugs and things of that nature. And so he probably would assume that these juveniles possibly could have recognized him. You know what I mean? And so he may have felt
it was a matter of time.
Right. And at the time of when he showed up. So he probably wanted to put himself there. And, you know, the thing is, like,
it's like I'd rather let you hear from me than from someone else, kind of thing.
Right, exactly. And the other thing is, though, like, you would assume, why would he say he left at 3:30? Like, if those girls saw him leaving as they entered, and those were the only people that saw him,
yeah,
and Libby there, outside of Libby and Abby, right? Obviously, if why would he say that he stayed there for so long? I would have been like, yeah, I walked the trail and walked back out and took off. Was gone by 2:30.
Yeah, dude, and especially like I don't know, man. Like, what was he watching on his phone? The what was it called? The stock. Is that what he was watching? What was he watching on his phone?
Stock ticker. He was looking at the yeah.
I was like, dude, you gotta come up with something better than that shit. You can probably even say you were playing Pokemon, something.
Right. Well, I mean, regardless of what he was doing, he puts himself there. If he was on his phone, those pings would put him there.
Yeah.
I mean, if he left, right? If he left and he said he got home at a certain time, I wonder if there's any evidence of that. But yeah, I mean, there's possibilities they could put holes in this entire thing. I mean, if he says he left at 3:30 and he didn't, let's say he left at 4:30 or 5, then there may be ping evidence of that. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. I don't know, man. I can't wait to see what this, you know, what else the prosecution has when it comes closer to. I just feel that based on the probable cause affidavit, do you see these guys, or do you see anything that indicates that there's 2 people involved? Because that was one of the things why they wanted to have it sealed, was they said that somebody else could get away from it. I don't see anything in there that says 2 people were involved.
Well,
Go ahead.
I honestly don't think they have everything in the probable cause affidavit. I don't think they have all their evidence. I definitely think that there are more people involved, and I even think that Kegan Kline ratted on Richard Allen. And
but that would kind of have to be on there. Like, police can can do certain tactics. They can even lie to people and stuff like that. But when it comes to court documents, they can't. That has to be truthful and that has to be honest. And so, especially on a probable cause affidavit, if somebody ratted him out, I think it would be in there.
But in a probable cause affidavit, they don't have to put everything.
Yeah.
No, they don't, but they have to put why they feel that they are going to arrest him. You have to put the bare minimum. Yes, that's correct.
Well,
And maybe perhaps
maybe
they feel
is
that the shell is the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, they're going to find out in discovery, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Can't wait to hear about everything. That'll be it's gonna answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, I agree, and I just don't think that there's no way that this will be enough, because in my opinion, like I mentioned before, the fact that you put in the probable cause affidavit that the evidence that you have is subject in nature based on opinions of experts leads you to believe that, well, there could be another expert out there that has a different opinion. And when you have these experts, so to speak, and I put them on quotation marks because they usually find a way to fall in line with whoever's paying them, whether it's the prosecution or the defense. That's why you'll have different experts for the prosecution, different experts for the defense to try to look at the same information and come up with two different conclusions. And, when you have something that's subject to nature like this, and they're putting that in the probable cause, that makes it a little bit flimsy, in my opinion. I would have thought that there would have been a little bit more, something clear. Maybe not everything, not all the circumstantial stuff, because everything that I see in here really doesn't even need to be in there. Like, all you have to like the person that was driving and saw somebody muddy, bloody walking down the street. That's circumstantial. There's nothing that's verifying that. And everything that's on here that is verifiable is verified with that camera, including Richard Allen being supposedly seen going towards the parking area. I find it like that is circumstantial. That doesn't need to be on there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just the witnesses from the three girls that saw him there. I mean, maybe perhaps the witnesses from the trail that said that they saw nobody else there other than Richard Allen at that time and the three juveniles or whoever. But those things would have to be in there. But
didn't he call them by name?
Well, they did, but it's redacted.
No, yeah, but like the witnesses didn't say it was Richard Allen. They just said that it was a person wearing.
Right.
So like that's also circumstantial.
Yeah, but I think you can kind of put two and two together when you put
especially when he said he was there.
Statements. Yeah, you put his statements of seeing three juveniles, and you have the three juvenile witness statement. You can put those two and two together. Like what's in that probable cause affidavit to me just shows that he was there more than anything. Yeah. And the only thing that's tying him to the bodies is the bullet. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I read it. Is everything on there just points to him being there, and what points to him being at the scene is the bullets. I've seen other probable cause affidavits that would have put in there, this person kept. They may not have put what the souvenir was, but this person kept a souvenir that was located during the search warrant. This would mean that this person is the only person that could have committed this murder. Boom. That's your probable cause affidavit. Motive, time, the whole 9 yards isn't in there. It's just the bare minimum in that case. You know what I mean? And so, but the probable cause affidavit is out there. There was a lot of questions as far as whether two guys, one person said that they described a guy in black, one described a guy in blue, went through the probable cause affidavit. It's pretty clear. It's one person. I think that person, it's pretty obvious, is Richard Allen based on Richard Allen's statements and the witness testimony that it was him that they saw. Now we just got to figure out if that bullet belonged to him. But we're getting a little bit long on the tooth here. Do you have any other questions there, Lovely Sphinx, before we go?
Yeah, and I don't know if they have matched the bullet to the box of ammo in his house.
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
The box of ammo, like it's mass produced and things of that nature, it'd be difficult to put it back to a box of ammo at his house, um, unless he had unspent rounds that circulated through the gun that also had markings on it. But I don't. Even if they were to match it back to a box, I guess the best defense, in my opinion, was, let's just say it is his. Did it fall out of his pocket while he was on the trail, and did somebody pick it up? Because that's going to be his defense, in my opinion. That's what, if I was his attorney, and that was the only thing that I could come up with, that's what I would come up with.
That's what you use, yeah.
Yeah, like, hey, there's a possibility that round was in his pocket. There's a possibility while he was checking his phone, because he said he was on his phone. These girls, they said that when they saw him, he had his hands in his pocket and he wasn't on his phone yet. And so is it possible that during the commission of pulling his phone out of his pocket, that if he had a round in there that was unspent, if it fell out and these girls picked it up? But what are the chances that that happens, and then, the person in the video is accused of having a gun by Libby and Abby on the tape. And so there's a little bit of too many coincidences there, but is there a defense?
Just gonna try them all.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but yeah, and like I said, it's coincidental, but the possibility is there that he had the round in his pocket, and that it fell out. And that would, if I was his defense, and that was what his claim was, then you would check the DNA on that unspent round and see if there's DNA from the girls. If there's DNA from the girls on there, that would lead you to believe they picked up the bullet.
Or they can even do a touch DNA if there is a smudged fingerprint.
Right.
They can do touch DNA. I'm also thinking if he cocked his gun and the round went in like where it was loaded, but then he wasn't going to shoot them, and if he accidentally just, that bullet just flipped out, like when you
there's a couple of ways that ammunition could have could have extracted out of that vehicle. It could have been an intimidation tool. It could have been a struggle where one of the girls grabs the gun, he pulls it forward, the slide goes back, throws out the round, and he didn't even know it came out. You know what I'm saying? So there's a couple of different ways that an unspent bullet can come out or be extracted. Those are probably the two logical ones that I can think of off the top of my head. It was an intimidation thing, and or one of them grabbed the gun during the commission and the slide went back and one round flew out.
Or it could be a jam.
And I guarantee Libby was a fighter. I guarantee.
Well, the only thing about that, though, is that the Ronald Logan search warrant from the police department and the FBI state that there was no sign of fight or struggle from the girls. And like I said before, police officers and law enforcement agencies, they can lie, they can bend the truth and things of that nature. But when it comes to government documents like that has to be 100% factual. And so I based on that information, I do not believe there was any sign of struggle or fight. These girls were probably frozen in fear or ran away, which is something that we had discussed here on this cast, that there's a possibility that he was taking them somewhere. They took off running from him and he chased them down. And when he caught up to them, did what he did and then moved and positioned the bodies in a certain way that would allow the police to believe that, or to put down that it was staged and moved. And so it was, there's a couple of different possibilities here, but it's trying to figure out which is the most plausible out of all of them. And I think that the intimidation or if somebody grabbing the gun or one of the girls grabbing the gun during the the commission of the attack are two very valid reasons why a bullet would be out there.
I don't know. I just, it's too much coincidence. I mean, one bullet,
one round, dude. Could you imagine, like, if that didn't happen, right? Like, if whatever happened out there, let's just say Richard Allen is guilty of sin. This is the guy, right?
Yep.
It's that one round. I mean, if that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Especially because, like, you know, the victims were killed with a knife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I believe it. Okay, the victims were killed. They were shot, and there's a unspent round somewhere. Okay, maybe the gun would have jammed. He extracted it, you know, and did what he did. But like one round in the case where the victims were stabbed to death. You know what I mean?
Well, and also that kind of a caliber, every single cop is carrying this type of a gun.
It's a common gun, and it's a common round.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah.
Hey, what's up, big blue?
Yeah, it's a tough case.
Yeah, the gun is. It just makes you like when you look at the scene, there's just so much puzzleness there. Like, you have the bridge here, you have them his vehicle parked up here, you have them walking away from the bridge, walking away from the vehicle, which I get it. There's a trail here, so you want them away from there. And then you still continue another quarter mile away from where you parked to commit this murder, and then have to travel a whole mile the way the crow flies, which, you know, going through this terrain up and down. And from what I understand, and we looked at some topography images of this terrain in earlier videos. Highly recommend you guys go watch our earlier stuff. We covered this case. We covered the Idaho murders. We've covered Vanessa Gillian, who was the Fort Hood female that was killed last. Was it? It's probably a couple of years ago now.
2020.
Yeah. And so we covered those cases. Please go back and watch those. They're in the playlist under murder mysteries. And so, you know, to walk this direction and then walk all the way back through this, like I said, we looked at the topography. The terrain was pretty steep on this side of the bridge in this area. It's weird. It definitely doesn't seem like it was planned. And when you have something that's not planned, to just have one piece of evidence on something that wasn't planned, it wasn't strategic, it was just kind of like out there. And then, you know, the other thing that I find odd is just the timing in which, you know, he arrives at 127 or is passing by at 127, right? The harvest store catches a vehicle matching this description, passing at 127. He says he got there at 130. So he still had to walk a good distance. Let's just say he's walking. They said that he was walking with a purpose. So let's go with about 3 miles an hour. I mean, he's still to the bridge is about, was that 0.8 of a mile? You know, that's probably about 18 minutes walking, maybe 15. And so he's getting there. The girls are getting dropped off.
And
the girls are getting dropped off at 147. You know, by the time he gets to that bridge, let's just say by the time he parks, right, it's probably 135. Gets there, parks, put his car in gear. You know, it takes him about 15 minutes. Let's just say he's walking with a brisk pace. 15 minutes to the bridge. That's 2:00. At 2:13, those girls were taking those pictures.
Yep.
Okay. I get. I don't see it being anybody but him. Based on that, the bullet just makes it more concrete.
I agree. I think Libby's video just nailed this case.
Yeah, that's hard to overcome. Arriving there at 1:27 is when you're passing the store, parking at 1:30, 1:35, getting, even if it's 1:35, that's 1:50, and they're taking pictures at 2:10. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's, I think that the gun might be the bullet or whatever, but just based on that, on the timeline, it's hard to prove it's anybody else.
Yeah, I think they got the right guy. It's just all the evidence needs to be looked upon, especially after during discovery, and then everything will be answered, or as much enough to be answered for a conviction. In other words,
yeah. My question comes in now.
And I honestly think that there was a second person waiting by the bridge on the other side, and they just ambushed them.
Maybe. I mean, there's possibility of that. There could be somebody out there.
The thing that we haven't seen is like the evidence that they have around the crime scene. They had more than 1 or 2 footprints or stuff like that. You know what I mean? They haven't shown that yet.
Right.
So with me, I think that there is somebody else that's involved. I feel that it's probably the Clines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a scenario where it's Ronald Logan.
Yeah, I mean, either.
No.
Not at all. And
no, it's not. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where it's him. I think he was a guy that was trying to cover up something he was doing during the time of the murders that was probably violating his probation, which clearly was, because he ended up going to jail for 18 months for whatever it was.
Right.
And, there's a lot of folks that think that Ronald Logan was the bridge guy and that Richard Allen was there or somewhere else. And I don't think so. I don't think there's a world that exists where Ronald Logan is involved. And for instance, it was if he was the bridge guy, where he's not the lone wolf, because there's no world, in my opinion, where you send the 77-year-old guy to go get on the bridge or do the kidnapping or do any of those things where you have a younger option. You know what I mean? And so I don't foresee that being the case. I think that
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think Richard Allen, I think they got their guy. I mean, just based off of the witness statements and his own statement of being there. It's just, dude, can you imagine? Do you imagine they probably could have solved this case so fast? So fast. Such a long time ago, had they just followed this lead. Because
definitely, man. But there's some cases that have more evidence that go wrong for more than 30 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we're looking for like convicted pedophiles and people with, or guys with criminal background and stuff. And Richard Allen is typical BTK guy, married with a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And also interestingly as well, I did not post for the period from the entire 2017. She did not have any social media posts on her Facebook profile. I wonder if they had some kind of like a marriage issue going on, and maybe for Richard Allen, it was like a midlife crisis or something he was going through.
Yeah. Richard Dobson says the Clines may have catfished him, that they weren't involved in the physical murders or even knew he was going to kill them. And that's quite possible. Yeah. That is quite possible. We spoke about, their involvement in the possibility of them, selling
like middlemen.
Yeah, just selling accounts that were talking to young girls and and exploiting those accounts with other people. And there's a possibility that they met this man online, didn't know who it was, sold him an account online through some type of messenger service that allows for hidden talking, probably like a Kick Messenger or WhatsApp, and then sold the login information, and was just assuming that this guy was just going to be exploiting for pictures, and didn't think they were going to meet up and do something like this. And but that doesn't make him innocent at all. That dude needs to fry in jail just for all that. And so but yeah, a lot of questions answered with this probable cause affidavit. When you break it down and you look at it and you look at the timeline, it makes it hard for the perpetrator to be somebody else other than Richard Allen.
Definitely.
And it's him that puts himself there, including on platform 1 on the bridge.
Yep.
So,
and on Abby and on Libby's phone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's the kicker, man. You have a timestamp of when the girls were on the bridge. There was other pictures that were taken, other than the video of the bridge guy walking up to him. Yeah. There was pictures that they took, and they're at 2:10, and so Richard Allen didn't arrive there much earlier than that.
Yeah.
And he had to walk that entire distance.
If the quality of the video was a little bit better and we could see more details on the face, that this case would have been done this first week, man.
Well, I mean that, and if the police went and spoke to Richard Allen and really took him in and talked to him, I think this would have been done then as well. I mean, you gotta, you look at the timeline.
Yeah.
And just seeing, all right, Libby and Abby were dropped off here. These juveniles left. And could you imagine, like, if you were the parents or even those juveniles that saw Richard Allen walking in, like how close it could have been them?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it could have easily have been those girls had Richard Allen showed up any earlier instead of at 1:27, if he showed up at 1 o'clock. All right.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's scary stuff too. Scary stuff. Let's see.
I honestly think that KK set up a meeting on the bridge for Libby and Abby, and then told Richard Allen that these two girls are going to be there. I honestly think that they thought they were meeting Anthony Schatz.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, there was some messages going back and forth that indicated that Anthony Schatz was trying to meet up with them. Willem Meester says, "Why was the Ron Logan search warrant so specific on things, but not Richard Allen's probable cause as far as the details of the murder?" Man, I think that it probably has to do and pertain to the murder. You had a search warrant. And I'm sure the search warrant for Richard Allen is probably a lot more detailed as well. The probable cause affidavit is only referred to is only about the importance of the case. The search warrant is going to have a lot more details in there because you're looking for certain things. You're looking for tools of the crime. So anything that could have been used to tie them up, things of that nature. You're looking for souvenirs that were taken, things that were lost, and what makes you think that those souvenirs could be there. So you have to imply why they were, you would think those were there, and that would be because they were missing from the scene, things of that nature. And so the search warrant affidavit is probably going to be significantly more detailed. And once the search warrant affidavit for Richard Allen's property is released, it's probably going to have a lot more details as well. Let's see.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Sorry, you have a good one, man.
See you too much, but I'll see you next time.
See you next time, buddy. We'll probably be back on Friday, y'all, just for everybody to get an idea. Let's see. Richard Dawson says, "I think random victims, as I said, possible clients catfish them, but not to murder them. But I really think it's more likely a psycho on a mission. Going to be interesting to find out." I agree. It's just kind of like, what are the chances that, by the time, you're seeing Richard Allen get to the bridge, and these girls are at the bridge. Like, it's a weird. That's some awful bad luck to get there at that exact time, and not to have to be waiting. Like, it would have made a lot of sense to me had Richard Allen been there all day, and there's evidence that he was there all day on the trails, waiting for, somebody to go out there and get on that ledge to be abducted, and there not be anybody else around. It was pretty ballsy to get there and take them that quickly, because it wasn't very long after they arrived at that bridge that they were gone.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but no problem. Thank you. And I want to thank everybody that has been a part of the live chat. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed, liked, and followed us. We appreciate that. We're on our mission to hit 1,000. We're relatively new. We've been doing true crime for probably about a month now. And so this is something we definitely think may have found a niche in, and we're going to continue to do. So we encourage you guys to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. We got some folks talk to us about or send us messages saying that they never, got notified of us going live. Ring that bell, guys. That will notify you when we go live and when we're talking about our other and talk about the other projects that we have coming out, or other shows. We'll be coming back on Friday night, so we look forward to you guys. Any last words before we go? We'll start off with you, Lovely. Any last words?
With me?
Yeah, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, can I say something about Idaho?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Murders. I think that the killer in the Idaho 4 murders was extremely enraged. Somebody who was extremely pissed off at the girls. I don't know if it was a jealousy or revenge, but that's what my gut feeling is telling me, that it was some kind of competition was going on. And it was somebody extremely pissed off. It's what my gut feeling is telling me, that it probably, I don't know who could be capable of these kinds of crimes. My mind cannot comprehend this. I will never be able to fathom this, but I just think you would have to be almost out of your mind to do something like this.
Oh, for sure. And for me, just to recap on that, my theory is you had Kaylee, who was apparently described as being more brutally murdered than the other girls, or the other the other victims. I'm sorry. And you have her, that a woman that was going through a breakup. And in my opinion, you probably had somebody who thought they had a chance. They fantasized this world with this young lady, fantasized the world probably with the friends, thinking that they're going to be part of that clique, part of their crew, be in with her and her friends and family. And when it didn't go to plan, his world that he created in his mind went to pieces, and this was the outcome, so to speak. Y'all have a good night, everyone. Have a good night. What about you, Jaime?
Yeah.
Any last words?
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. We plan on doing this, bringing folks on once a week. So if you guys are ever interested in coming on, let us know. We'll put it in the live stream like we did earlier, and we'll bring you on. Hey, good night, William. It's 4 a.m. is pretty early. Thank you so much. What about you, Jaime? Any last words?
I think the when it comes down to the Idaho 4 victims, I feel like it had to be another student. You know what I mean? Like, the student knew, or not, the suspect or the murderer knew his way around that house, knew the girls personally, and the male victim. It sounds real personal.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was another student.
I agree.
I completely agree with you, because can you imagine going into that area where that house is in the middle of the night
Yes.
And especially the lie wasn't working there. Like, how would you, if it was a random killing, like, how would you know where to go?
Yeah, exactly. Not only that, but like even neighbors, like I mean, if you see a kid in a city, a college town, I mean, you can't really doesn't stick out. But if you see a like an older man, somebody not dressed like a student walk into a house in the middle of the night, then kind of raises red flags. But that's why I think it had to be another student. They didn't raise any flags. Went in there, did that, got out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
I completely agree.
It's somebody that was close enough to know that this woman, in my opinion, to my theory, somebody close enough to know that she was broken up from a relationship and thought that they had an opportunity with her. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And with this case, it looks like it's going to be going on in March. I doubt it. I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty sure it's going to be pushed out quite a bit. Most of these cases are, but Indiana has this law where they don't allow cameras and stuff like that. And so what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to get out there. We're wanting to be boots on the ground, get out to Indiana where they end up having the court and doing those things. And the way you guys can help us do that is by hitting that subscribe button. That'll help us move this channel along further and allow us to do those types of things and to get boots on the ground and get to where these places are. But that's all. Yeah, that's all we have for you guys tonight. We appreciate everybody in the live chat. We appreciate you, Lovely Sphinx. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
And on the replay, if you have your thoughts and theories, let us know in the chat or in the comments. That being said, guys, we're the Drunk Turkey Show. This